And good afternoon. This is a request video. One of the subscribers asked for a Cutlass video, and I happen to have one. This is the Tier 10 multi-role American fighter. And it has its own quirks, of course. And it has a painful history. Okay. So let's talk about it a little bit. On the history of the aircraft, this was the immediate predecessor to one of the most unsuccessful aircraft ever produced by the Vought Corporation, Vought Aerospace, which was the F7U Pirate. And to say the plane was unsuccessful and just short of it, in fact it was a disaster, never went into production, would be an understatement. In fact, there's an entire video done on the F7U Pirate as to how not to build an aircraft. And it all came down to the same thing that plagued this aircraft, plus some other issues. And that would be the engines. Actually, they're showing a different engine here, which probably would have done a lot, but it came back to an aircraft, a GE turbofan engine called the J34, and probably responsible for killing off more aircraft than you would want to believe. In fact, I believe I have that here. Yeah, the J34. And that was what actually outfitted this aircraft. How bad was the aircraft? Well, the Pirate was an absolute disaster. This one actually went into production. Though the Navy, a lot of people question why the Navy did when they had the Banshee that was doing a much better job. This aircraft actually was so bad that when one of the aircraft had an emergency and went and declared an emergency and had to get in line because there were 3 other F7Us in line with emergencies of their own. And the faults were many. The hydraulic systems were problematic. This very long strut caused problems. When it was side-loaded, it tended to snap. There were carrier captains, and you have to understand in the U.S. Navy, the captain of a carrier is the next closest thing to God by their organization. Not to be sacrilegious here, but very high-ranking. Would simply order squadrons of these aircraft off their carriers and replace them with something else. It got to that point. Vought Corporation was just one more aircraft away from dissolution. But the next aircraft that came out was the F8 Crusader, which was a spectacularly good aircraft. And in my opinion, its successor should have replaced the Phantom instead of the Phantom being the bomb truck that it was, but that's my opinion. All right, so this aircraft is given an upgraded engine. You'll notice, and if you ever want me to do a segment on just the Cutlass, and it had some very unflattering names, though I will tell you that there were pilots that loved this aircraft. Didn't have much problem with it. Just thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. So the situation here is that this is a multi-role aircraft. It has 4 of the Mark 12 Colt cannons in it. Gives you a total of 720 damage per second, and you can. It's a decent gun platform. All right. Interestingly enough, they actually put them here and here and here and here, which I thought was strange. I thought gas ingestion would be a problem, but that was one of the problems that was never associated with this aircraft. And I'm guessing the airflow just grabbed the gases and lifted them over the body instead of into the engine. So it was an interesting aircraft for a number of aspects. The strange shape was, and if you see my 262 video, you will understand that the Navy was now very aware of compressibility and crossing that boundary, the sound barrier. And this is one of the attempts to start getting more use out of the aircraft by aerodynamics. But you'll notice that it really doesn't do a very good job at that. It's not area ruled. This very thick, wide wing was a attempt to overcome that issue, unsuccessfully in this case. You will see in the... all right, let's talk about the aircraft as it relates to the game. All right, so you're going to get 720 DPS out of the guns. You're going to get a 500-pound bombs. This is multi-roll. You get a 2,000-pound bomb load out of this, which makes it very useful in that role. Survivability is 700 hit points, which is really good. But you do have to balance that out, that a lot of the fighters at Tier 10 really pour out the damage. And I don't mean in minor amount. That being said, survivability is 700. And I've taken a few hits because of the upgrades on the aircraft. Airspeed is 319, which is very similar to a Sabre. However, that being said, you have to be aware that the Sabre and this have almost nothing in common because the Sabre can turn and this one can't. Why would you say that, Jeff? Well, number of things, but let's get on to the airspeed here. Cruise speed is up 6.7%. Acceleration while diving 6.5%. Acceleration without boost is up 5%. All right, maneuverability is a bit of a dog here. 13.3 seconds. You are not going to, there's a lot of aircraft out here that are coming in 10, 9, and I've taken a few hits for the speed enhancements. Altitude performance is right at 6,000 feet. Service ceiling is 13,000 feet. I believe you should be able to get up 10,000 feet and still operate the aircraft effectively. Rate of climb is 520 feet, 23 feet a second. It can be a frustrating aircraft. You have to treat it like a fast ground attack aircraft and a bit of a heavy fighter. It can lay out the damage really well, and it can inflict serious damage on ground targets, but it's not going to turn with anything. That being said, it's quick. It's very quick in a dive. There's not much that can get away from it under boost. There's a few things, but not much. I did chase down a Super Marine Swift with one on several occasions and haven't had too much problem. It can take out the largest armored target, ground target in the game with one pass, which is nice because you can drop those 500-pounders in a nice, neat stitch right down the center of, for instance, the large armored target in the mining plant. That's going to be awfully useful. And having done that, you now have a nice aircraft capable of taking on ground attack aircraft, whatever you want to call them. All right. So those are its roles, but something like this gets on your tail, it's going to get ugly in a hurry. The same is going to go with the MiG-15 BIS. The LA-15, you know, it's just going to get flat ugly. And so I'm going to play this win or lose, and we'll just take it for what it is and give you an idea of what it can do. And good morning. You'll find the very unfriendly skies, the Tironan, and I should say this afternoon because this is a request video. Now the F7U Cutlass is a multi-role fighter. Comes with 2,000 pounds of ordnance in the shape of 4 500-pound bombs. And done correctly, this thing can make a mess. As you can tell, one pass and the major armored deal is taken away. We are going to get to full speed here and get out of harm's way. That is an XF-90, the fastest plane in the game. And no chance of catching him, but we can cut corners on him, and he has all the maneuverability of your standard brick. So if he attempts to turn, we can cut inside the turn. And we're going to have to... Yeah, air defense aircraft got me. Now you'd think we'd have all the aircraft support in the world because that is the closest target, but apparently not. Okay, we'll come at this thing again. Hopefully with a little more luck this time. And I really don't have to worry about even doing more than now I am recording another video, and you're going to see a little shake in the video card. It's not you, it's me. Yes, it does have a 720 DPS second turn time with the 4 guns on it, excuse me. I'm getting a lot more traffic here than I thought I necessarily would, and I'm fighting against the video card right now, which is also doing a background task for another video, which I am very much regretting doing. Surprisingly, however, we're getting it done. Wow. Yak 30 is flat on that guy's tail, and now he sees me. And I'm hoping that he's got enough problems not to try to turn and burn with me, and apparently he does. Got him anyway. Alright, we have some bombs and some rockets, and we need to get involved here. And so what we're going to want to do is drop these in succession. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We obviously did some damage there. And we have an aircraft behind us, IL-40P, and yes, they will shoot down fighters, folks. By the way, if you think that's strange, I do it too on a regular basis when people think that GA will not attack fighters with their ordnance. Okay. My, wasn't that fun? All right. F-86 coming straight in. He is as fast as I am, turns a heck of a lot better, but he doesn't outrun bullets any better than I do.
Receiving reports about rapidly deteriorating weather conditions.
He's counting on his altitude capability. And I have 4 bombs again. 2, 3, and 4. And the only thing I left was 1 smokestack. I think we can correct that. Somebody doesn't get it before I do.
That's it. There's no way to break through now. You're on your own.
Now, that is one heck of a ground attack aircraft. I only know it from flying against it. It is a classic blip gun. Okay, we now got that. And the IL-40P. See if we can save our co-pilot. Yes, I am turning this into a turn and burn, and I probably shouldn't be, but I'm not going to lose a pilot to stupidity. And at long range, it doesn't really matter how maneuverable you are. Just got the Conqueror badge, and F-86A is after me, and boy, he's going to win this contest. Now the aircraft is destroyed past squall line. So we've done everything we can reasonably do with the aircraft. See if we get a tail view on what he's doing. Nice job. Odd or not. It's also known as I need to get me one of them.
Victory is in sight. Keep it up.
Okay. Got an enemy aircraft on his tail, and he's doing the normal, very inefficient bot thing. This is a very close game. I wish I could have stuck around longer for it, but there we go. Now, he's got a couple of 1,000-pound bombs here,
This is our last chance.
and he used them both on one deal, but that's okay, it worked out. Now we have 3 bases there too. 800-point game. Equal aircraft. Gotta love it. Wish I was still part of it, but that's my fault, right? We have a very slight lead here. Need to make sure that we take advantage of that. I believe we're down to Ambert. I do believe is the real deal. Let's see what Ambert's doing. Yep, they're down to 2 bots, it looks like. Yep. And that's it.
Victory is ours.
Okay. Came in with a very good game on this. Again, this is a subscriber request, and I will do videos on request for our subscribers. And we'll take it from there. Let's go on back to the hangar. We'll take a look at that. See what we actually did. Okay, you might as well say 110,000 silver, 15,000 experience points, and 743 free experience. Round. Get used to it. We destroyed 8 aerial targets. We did, might as well say 30,000 points of ground damage. We took out 3 ground targets destroyed. Critical damage to 11 times. This is a good multi-role. About the only thing that you can really complain about with this aircraft is it's not as maneuverable as one would like. I'd much rather see this thing in a 10.5 11-second time frame than what it has. But folks, compared to reality, this is an excellent plane. It was one of the Navy's biggest mistakes, and had the it came in a comfortable #1 here too. So there you go, and I want to thank you very much for spending some time with me today. Please remember to like and subscribe. And we do have a Patreon channel. You can go to the channel itself, and I'll put a link down below eventually. If you want to subscribe, then it will pay for premium aircraft as soon as I get enough money to purchase it. Okay, folks, I want to thank you again, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.